Hi, good morning to all the viewers of this webinar. We are currently live via Microsoft Teams for today's session entitled Business Realities 2020 Human Resource and Corporate Sustainability Amid COVID-19 in the Philippines. My name is Isabel Espina. I'm a product specialist of Alliance Software, and I will be the moderator for today. Business Realities 2020 is a series of webinars that we will be doing weekly to discuss on the new normal and talk about how Philippine businesses can continue to move forward despite this pandemic. So for today's webinar, we have 3 speakers, and we will be having a Q&A segment on the last part of this program. So kindly write down your questions if you have any questions in the Q&A portion in your screen. So you can find the Q&A icon at the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Our team will be picking up some questions from the live audience at the last part of this program. But before we will start with our speakers, we have here some reminders. Viewers are on listen-only mode. Second, you should have a stable internet connection. Third, avoid opening multiple windows. Fourth, the webinar is recorded and will be shared to the participants after today's session. Also, stay tuned because we will be giving away Grab gift vouchers at the last part of this webinar. So just simply fill out the evaluation forms that you can see in the upper right corner of your screen. There's a link there. Okay. All right, without further ado, let me introduce to you our first speaker. She is Assistant Vice President for Human Resource of Alliance Software, and she will be discussing about the HR's role in crisis management. All right, viewers, let us all welcome Ms. Riza Cañete. Hi, Ms. Riza. You may now share your screen, Miss.
Okay, good morning, Isa. Good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen.
Yes, sure, Miss.
Can you see my screen right now?
Not yet, Miss. Okay. Okay. Yes, we can see your screen, Miss.
Okay. So, again, good morning, everyone. I'd like to share to you this morning the HR's role in COVID-19 crisis management. So, basically, as COVID crisis unfolds globally, organizations across the world are now testing their crisis management readiness. So it is affecting workplaces around the world. HR people need to adjust to this new situation and develop a strategy to prevent damages coronavirus can bring to its employees and the organization. So we say that damages when we mean that safety and productivity of the entire workplace. This is especially true in our industry, the IT industry. Many by now close their offices and trying to find alternatives for running the business as smoothly as possible. So before we proceed, we have to define first what is crisis management and how is this important for HR people. As we may already know, crisis management is the process by which an organization deals with the disruptive and unexpected event of a situation that threatens to harm the organization or its stakeholders. Failure to handle the crisis properly can result in serious harm to stakeholders, losses of the organization, or even end its very existence. And that is something HR professionals are geared and called upon to react as fast as possible. Now, as we may all know also, crisis is a significant threat. It is a threat to operations that can have negative consequences if not handled properly. In most cases, crisis can create three related threats. These are public safety, reputation loss, and financial loss. And the third one, financial loss, that could definitely lead to job loss and where HR must come in. COVID-19 is most likely creating all these three threats a business can ever face. If crisis management is not handled properly or in a timely manner, of course, we can put our employees' health risk and also put their jobs at stake. Now, in the recent survey conducted by MIT Sloan, we can get a better understanding of the impacts of COVID-19 in the workplace. Let me share this to you. They found that the top issues employees have on their minds during COVID-19 crisis includes a lot. So the list is very long. And the top concern or issue is really on job security. If we try to mention the top five, second would be personal health. Third is childcare and homeschooling. Fourth is personal finances. And fifth is remote work. As you can see, employees have many concerns, and that's where crisis management comes to place for HR professionals. To protect our employees' health and safety while keeping the business operations running as smooth as possible, HR team immediately evolved itself into a default crisis management team. The thing is, coronavirus is not like any other crisis we've faced in the past. So listed here, let me share to you, are the crisis management tips and learnings that help limit the impact of COVID-19 to our employees' health and well-being. So first is we need to create, of course, an HR's crisis management plan. In order to handle the coronavirus crisis properly, the HR needs to have a clear plan and strategy around it. But the plan must be, of course, three important ingredients. Number one is flexibility. It should be flexible enough to immediate changes. That's why we need to always be updated. Secondly, it is with everyone's involvement in developing, in managing, and reviewing the plan. And lastly, frequently evaluated to anticipate gaps and issues that needs to be fixed. Second is keep employees informed, and that information must be accurate and updated. Yes, we're all the pandemic all shocked us, and it is scary. But the role of HR in crisis management, as well as the internal communications, like the managers, the department leaders, is to keep their employees calm and try keeping the stress level at the very minimum. This is why you need to communicate with your employees openly and frequently. When sharing such information, it is very important to keep it relevant to the employee status or positions or level, location, and the nature of their work. Third is implementing a remote work or work from home setup. It's no-brainer because in order to stop the virus from spreading, people should be less mobile than they usually are, of course, and they should certainly avoid contacts with too many people. Luckily, remote work is common today, and it has become an option that most employers offer. If employees can do their work from home, then let them do so. The way you can significantly reduce the chances of virus to appear and spread within and outside of your organization. The fourth one is create an environment that foster online collaboration. This is actually related to number three. So how to ensure that employees stay connected and collaborate efficiently while working from home. Luckily, of course, we are having a lot or plenty of internal communication tools readily available right now that could help employees success during coronavirus outbreak. However, HR teams need to make sure they foster this new way of collaboration in the organization. We should continuously remind employees about the importance of being available online and staying in touch with their teammates via internal communication channels. And lastly, since number one, we created, and now the last one, we have to evaluate our crisis management plan regularly, of course. This outbreak is readiness test for many HR professionals around the world. And yes, no one is happy about this, but we can learn something from it. We should evaluate the effectiveness of our crisis management efforts regularly and identify opportunities for improvement. So the questions like, how well did we handle remote work? Did employees follow our advices? Was the information you shared with your employees useful to them? Did employees actually read our updates? Were you able to control the spread of misinformation in the workplace? And the likes. So let me also share to you what did HR Society learn about our situation? So first, we need to focus on people. People first, economics second. This is where HR needs to stand up on and what to prioritize in every decision we are making. That is people first. When our people are given the highest priority, the business part would surely follow. Okay. Second is develop a rapid response team or crisis management team that is cross-organizational. This is a non-traditional HR setup right now, which is not that effective at this point. We need to be agile and adopt the new normal. So HR business partnering setup is the most effective in which HR associates are given much delegation and jurisdiction over matters. Of course, we have to balance it with adhering to the delegation of authority. So this is just to make things happen and move as fast as we could. The third one is creating real-time data collection to identify precisely where the problem is coming from. When the ECQ was announced in the Philippines, and later on the government also announced that there are government aids like Dole Camp, SBWS. Most of other HR departments realized that most of their data of their employees were actually either not updated or incomplete. So somehow along the way, they scrambled and they forget that they don't have the regular audit and real-time data collection. So good thing about Alliance, which I'm personally very proud of and happy, we have a very good accounting and HR system that we can securely access wherever we are, even at home. So we transition to this new normal easier and respond to things quickly. Okay. Number four is rapidly develop programs to educate, train, and empower people to work from home. And at the same time, create strict guidelines for those working on site. From the beginning of the quarantine, everyone was shocked, and there was a big fear on how the work from home setup would be like. Will it be effective? How would we measure the productivity? But the end of it, it was realized that people working from home had indeed raised or increased their productivity. First of all, HR noticed that disciplinary actions in terms of tardiness issues and unplanned leaves we're not there anymore. It's almost zeroed out. And maybe because they realize that their focus is really more on their work right now. Um, Perhaps they appreciate more the privilege of working from home, and they understand the criticality of the situation. So at the end of it, maybe that motivation and appreciation led to their productivity, and they beat their SLAs. Now, while observing this, there was a major shift of mindset for companies in prioritizing work from home setup to all employees, and especially for those employees who have particularly the ability and opportunity to do so. Well, in parallel, for those working outside, um, strict implementation of health and safety protocols in the work site can increase morale and trust of employees because they feel that they are being safeguarded and attended to by the company while they are working on site. Okay. Next is quickly assess what jobs are going away and start to align people toward new roles, new working arrangement quickly. So reality bites that no matter how hard we press on, there are inevitable situations that would surely creep in, like projects with no go or that are put on hold, or um, roles or assignments that are already not needed with the current situation. So this means that also that the companies would also assess the resource requirements aligned to the business needs. And this is where HR people are quick to assess and ready to act on it as well. And lastly, stay positive and communicate a positive spirit despite the uncertainty and change. As shared a while ago, employees already has a lot of concerns and issues with them. So in terms of us communicating to them, we make sure that communications are positively scripted and not to deliver the message in a gloomy spirit and trying to be optimistic despite the situation. The last phase would be for me to share to you what we have reviewed and visited in terms of the differences of employee experience before and during COVID-19. So the table is actually borrowed from Coach Rivers. So this is more on the HR focus and activities before and after or during COVID. So before, our focus is really more into productivity and engagement. Now, it's really more on the diagnosis and response. In terms of moment, it's major talent transition activity or onboarding employees. So right now, it's immediate actions in terms of infections, incidences, or locations tracing. We are always on the lookout on the health and conditions and issues of the employees. In terms of experience, we are designed in advance before. Now it's real time. And in terms of locality, from upper or global down to local. Right now, it's local than global, meaning teams are more self-managed to react and decide things out. And they are forced to transition to this quickly. In terms of HR functions, before it's domain-centered, meaning specialization. Right now, it's cross-domain. We need to be cross-functional so we can respond better. And lastly, in terms of pace, as I have mentioned a while ago, is periodic data audit and data analysis. Right now, it's regular data audit and real-time data analysis to support better the remote setup. So the keyword really here is real-time and quick response. So as a conclusion, I'd like to share to you one of the realization personally as an HR professional, being here in the industry and being into this profession for over a decade already. So one of the most important HR capability being tested right now is really agility. And let me underline the word agility. This is the ability to move and think and understand quickly. HR people or team must build a crisis response muscle, learn quickly how to distribute authority and coordinate activity, implement real-time data collection, listening, and communication program. Let me just share to you one of my discussions with my HR colleague. She asked me once, is there really a change in the role of HR now? I answered her, as we see, HR's role has evolved over the decades. Just now, in the current pandemic, it forces us to be more aggressive, more agile, more employee centric, and more strategic in developing, implementing, and facilitating policies, programs, and processes to adapt to the new normal post COVID 19. So, yes, our role has changed and ought to change, evolve to align with the new norm, with the new world. As an HR person, for me, self leadership and service, selflessness are the founding principle of Agile. These are the prices to be paid to be part of an HL Agile team, self managed and high performing contributor of the organization, and keeping to our heart the Alliance core values: quality, innovation, agility, efficiency, and integrity. So that's it from me. Good morning once again, and thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Riza. Thank you. Okay, we hope that the viewers were able to get some of your thoughts and useful insights about the HR's role, the advantages and challenges that they are faced with during pandemic. Okay, so just a reminder to all the viewers, you can get the chance to win Grab gift vouchers at the end of this webinar. Simply fill out the evaluation forms that you can see on the right corner of your screen. Okay, moving on to our next speaker. She is the Assistant Vice President, Investment of Union Bank. She will be discussing about the options for efficient salary disbursement or online banking. Let us all give a virtual round of applause for Ms. Pamela Palmares Pepito. Hi, Ms. Pam. Good noon, Miss.
Hi, good afternoon or good
Okay.
morning.
Hi, Miss. You may now start, Miss.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sure, Miss. We can see your screen. All right.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. I hope all is well in spite of the COVID crisis. And let me start with this slide. I think most of us can relate to this picture, particularly those who are working from home. We have to make the perfect balance between work, family, and to those who are singles out there, we have to balance also our love life with work. I guess this is the new normal today. To maximize our capacity, I think we need tools or we need to adapt to digital solutions that I will be sharing with you, particularly if you face all these challenges in spite of COVID-19. Employees are working from home due to ECQ, MECQ, GCQ, MGCQ, and all the CQs out there. Signatories or approvers can't go to the office to sign documents. Payroll accounts for newly hired employees can't be open since no one can deliver the account opening forms to the bank. Payroll file has to be emailed to the bank to credit salaries of employees. Now, this might be processed after banking hours if branch people are too busy to upload the file. Online crediting of salaries through a bank is not available 24/7, Monday to Sunday, and has a cut-off time. delayed crediting of salaries, and you don't even know the payroll status if after sales support is not available. ATM cards can't be delivered due to canceled flights. No contingencies in place if bank payroll system is down. Employees have to go to an ATM to check if payroll has been credited. In fact, you have to bring an alcohol to use the ATM keypad. ATM cards can be used for online purchase or POS transactions. Now, I hope with all these challenges, I will be talking about the topics online banking for businesses, cash management solutions to provide you with the solutions amid the COVID-19 challenges. I'd like to introduce to you the portal. In fact, I'm very proud to say that we have the best corporate banking app in the Philippines. We call the portal. The bank aims to host all of our online platforms in the portal to make it convenient for users to access it online. You can access it through the website, or it also has a fully featured mobile app. You can sign in with your Face ID or Touch ID, or simply log in using your ID and password, so that whether you are in the office or outside doing business, you can easily manage and transact through the mobile app. It's hard to remember, di ba, different passwords and IDs to access various platforms online. I used to have a notebook to write my online credentials, particularly when it has to be changed every 3 months, right? This is a requirement of central bank that all passwords has to be changed every 3 months. Can you just imagine my notebook full of erasures and changes to keep track of various IDs and passwords? And worst, you have to hide your notebook somewhere where no one can find it because all your credentials are there. With the portal, you only have to maintain one ID and one password, just a single credential to be able to access everything online. You can stay up to date on all your banking activities and manage your account and account balances. For some, for some of us, we have to call the bank to ask for balances, to ask for bank transactions, and you have to wait sometimes for the physical statement of account or bank statement or a statement of account every month or the following month for you to be able to reconcile. Now, this may take a lot of your time when you can just wait. You don't have to wait because you can, with the portal, you can enroll all your companies and subsidiaries and easily switch between them without needing to log out. You can also export transaction history, through a CSV or PDF format. So why wait for the bank statement or the physical bank statement to be delivered to you when you can just download your transactions online through the portal? You can also approve on the go, manage transactions requiring your approval anywhere, anytime for your payroll, bills payment, and funds transfer. It's either your way or the highway for the portal. You can set up simple to complex business approvals and choose what each users can do or see. Sometimes we forget when we do transactions, we forget that who are the approvers. It can also display the names of all approvers and or all users enrolled in the system. Like for this example, for every transaction, it needs to be approved by someone from Group B and someone from Group A before the transaction gets to Group C for approval. So everything is transparent. You can call these people if you need to be, if a transaction has to be approved. You can also make real-time transfers to local bank and international banks through PesoNet, InstaPay for peso-denominated bills, PDDTS for US dollars, and SWIFT for international transfer. You can use this payouts for salaries, suppliers, or service providers. You can also facilitate payments through the portal, manage your business payments with the most extensive list of government and utility billers. You can pay your VECO bill here and other utilities through the portal instead of you going to the biller's office, which is very hard to do today due to limited access now to travel. So you might as well do it online. This is something new for all of us. If you need to deposit a check, diba, you need to go to the bank to make the deposit. With the portal or through the mobile check deposit, you can clear your checks remotely, on site, on demand, and get your funds when you need it. You just need to take a picture of the check, the front portion or the back portion of the check, and then you are good to go. For Union Bank checks, amounts or the funds can be cleared within 2 hours you made the transaction. For other banks checks, if you follow the 3 p.m. cutoff time, funds are cleared on the next banking day. So why waste your time going to the bank to make a check deposit when you can do it through the mobile check deposit facility? For remote banking naman, you can schedule a trip to the ARC or to the branch in advance. Take the hassle out of queuing and get your job done faster. So you can actually input here all the details of your cash and check deposits now. Instead of going to the bank, you have to fill up a deposit slip. You just fill up everything here so that the system can generate a reference number. And when you go to the ARC or to the branch, all you need to do is enter into a tab the reference number and wait for your turn to do the over-the-counter transaction. Although this is still on pilot, but I'm excited to share this with everyone. You can place an order for ATM cards. You can open and manage payroll accounts of your employees with batch account opening. In fact, it's still in the works. You can already open the payroll accounts of your employees through online or digital account opening facility. Now, to share with you love features at a glance for online banking for personal account. Like the portal, you can send money to local and international banks. You can also send money or funds through our remittance center, no, partners like Palawan Pawn Shop, Sabona Lulier, LBC, and Perahub. Now, you can also request payment from the person who owes you money, diba? It's kind of awkward if someone owes you money and you have to ask that person to pay you. You can, through this facility, you can request payment for that from that person to pay whatever he or she owes you. Now, for split bills naman, you can split the bill with people who can share payment of the bill. Like if you eat out together and everyone has to pay for the bill, you can split the bill through this facility. Mobile branch banking, the same with the portal. You can make an advance appointment to visit the bank to avoid the long queue to transact over the counter. You can also buy prepaid load for Globe, Smart, and Sun network. Now, the portal uses the latest technology. If sometimes no, we're not comfortable, if we have to transact large amounts, we're not comfortable doing it online. But we can assure you that the portal uses the latest technology to keep your transactions secure. Manage your settings to find the perfect balance between your security and convenience. In times when you have to issue checks to your suppliers or other payees, when you enroll to the portal, a link with the installer can be sent to you and you can do a self-service check printing. The business check system is so user-friendly that you can just, there's a tutorial, part of the installer is a tutorial. You just follow this and that gets installed in your system. That's the portal. Instead of you going to the bank, we bring the bank to you. Let me share lang a few of the features of our payroll or e-pay card facility. For account opening of employees, if you have like 1,000 employees, it's kind of hard to ask all the employees to accomplish the forms. You can actually extract data from your payroll system containing the 12 listed information here on the screen. Containing the file should contain all of this for us to be able to convert this file into a form so that the employees will have to sign the form. They don't have to write or fill up the form anymore. Now for payroll alert, the cardholders or employees will receive SMS notification once the payroll is credited to their account. It will contain the amount of payroll that was credited as well as the outstanding balance of the account. The cardholders can also earn points through GetGo Cebu Pacific. If you use your ATM card to purchase items, for every 88 pesos, you earn 1 point for that. And for the workplace arrangement program, if you have a payroll arrangement with a bank, we can give you preferential rates for auto loans, home loans, and we can also issue credit cards for your employees. It's very important to have after-sales support, like when you upload a payroll and you don't know the status after you uploaded the payroll. It's important to be able to call someone at the bank. Our support, after-sales support, is available 24/7, Monday to Sunday, or you can just email union3z at unionbankph.com and they will attend to you right away. Now, for more questions, if you're shy to ask from here or through the chat room that we have here, you can call me through these numbers or email me at palmares@unionbankph.com. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Pam. Okay, for sure, the viewers are now enlightened on choosing the right options for efficient salary disbursement or cash management. Okay, viewers, you can be one of the lucky winners for 20 Grab gift vouchers at the end of this webinar. So simply fill out the evaluation forms that you can see on the right corner of your screen. So now, our third and last presenter for today is from Metro Manila. He is the SMB Territory Channel Manager at Microsoft Philippines, and he will discuss on the importance of cloud in the workplace and information dissemination. Let us all welcome Mr. Lorenzo Taniedo. Hi, Sir Enzo. Good noon, sir.
Hi, Isa. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of our participants, and thank you for your time.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just share my screen, and we can begin. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes talking about the importance of cloud in the workplace. By way of introduction, my name is Enzo. I work for a company called Microsoft, and I am the SMB lead. I lead sales, channels, marketing, and operations in this segment. Allow me first to reintroduce my company, Microsoft. For those of you who are of age, you may have remembered that Microsoft once had that very famous and bold statement, a PC in every home. But 5 years ago, the company hit refresh. And whenever we work with customers and work with partners, we call to mind our mission, which is to empower every person and every organization to achieve more. I bring this up because when we face COVID and we look at our post-COVID responses, that mission is all the more relevant. And so people always ask, okay, Microsoft, along with your Partners Alliance, how do you help? If you can allow me to be immodest a little bit, before I answer the topic, this is just some of the work that we have done in the past 8 or 12 weeks globally. The first is that we have supported a shift to remote work across small enterprises, large enterprises, public and private. As of last telemetry, we were looking at 2.7 billion daily meeting minutes on Microsoft Teams, the platform we're using today. As well, in terms of marketing and similar connections, we've seen a lot of virtual events. So Microsoft Teams as a platform can actually host up to 100K events, which is now the trend, right? No one is booking any hotels or any ballrooms right now. Just two more things to call out because I don't intend to read everything else in the slide. Security has become of paramount importance. So what we're also doing is that for businesses with slightly more advanced workloads, we've allowed them to deploy secure access to their applications through our Windows Virtual Desktop technology. And finally, as threats evolve, I'm sure many of you like to read the news, and you probably see that there's this new trend wherein websites who purport to report COVID-19 data are actually set up by malicious attackers to phish, to compromise your identities. So more than ever, as the space and landscape has evolved, Microsoft has taken a good look along with our partners at the security ecosystem, and we're making sure that as more information comes out and as people search for more information, we protect everybody. Now, short of saying we're now faced with a new reality, right? The term new normal is what's used by everybody. And once GCQ or MECQ will lift, we'll have a new normal, depending on what you want to call it. Our mission today, in terms of empowering everybody to achieve more, is to prepare everyone for a scenario where everything is going to be remote. Okay? Now, what will this look like? Depending on the nature of your business, you're going to be talking about things like contactless shopping, and at least our cohort in the food services and the retail industry have started to do this. For those who have children, and on the flip side, those who run educational institutions, there's more and more of a demand for remote learning. There's still a lack of clarity from our government whether or not schools will be open. So learning platforms are going to be the norm. In terms of medicine, especially if you are not an emergency case or if you're not a COVID-related case, we're seeing more telemedicine where you consult with your doctor, but without having to make an appointment and see them in the office face to face, and on and on. Now, again, I go back to our mission, and this is a mission shared with my good friends at Alliance. As the world has shifted to this new normal, and as all of these interactions are turning remote, it's our job to make sure that the right technology is out in market and the right technology is at the hands of entrepreneurs so that you continue to serve your end customers. So, allow me to share a model by which we see digital transformation and by which we see technology cloud in the workplace. The first is the set of technologies which will allow you, the business owner and the entrepreneur, to navigate what's happening now. There's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know what the government's going to do tomorrow. We're not sure if we're allowed to go out, but there's sets of technologies which should allow you to navigate all of this uncertainty now. The first, and I think it was raised by my colleague from HR in Alliance, we want to make sure that you keep a good connection with your employees. Make sure everyone's safe. Make sure everyone has access to relief goods if needed, or potentially even healthcare if needed. And you can use the cloud to certainly make that connection. The second really is once you start to see openings in the economy, to plan for your comeback, if you will. Now, this begets some financial planning. The first bullet point here is talking about new financial targets, right? You might have to be slightly less bullish, but as you open up stores and as you open up factories, more and more it's going to be important to have some intelligent supply chain or some intelligent inventory management, business operation solutions at your disposal. It's not going to be a good idea to continue to rely on mano-mano methods, logbooks, and messengers and memos sent around. And finally, at some point we will all achieve that V-shaped recovery, right? Maybe that outlook is 1 year, maybe it's 2. But as the consumer behavior has shifted and as the market behavior has shifted into something new, it's going to be the onus of the entrepreneur and the business to change their very business model, if not their actual product. And the cloud here can definitely help. So let me break it down. Where do we see cloud in the workplace? The first and most obvious is in interactions with employees, and our first speaker covered a lot. The second is going to be around your business process, and I don't have a lot of time to talk about supply chain management, nor am I the expert, but I just want to drop some concepts. And the third and fourth, this is where we start to use the cloud beyond our internal operations and employee engagements in reaching out to the market and delivering quality service to that market. So allow me for the next 5 or 6 minutes to go over the key concepts. First, we're going to see cloud used internally. One of the use cases we see is crisis communication, and a lot of crisis communication apps are being built out. And think of it as an emergency button or a help button that you can have for every member of your organization to either report if they're sick, if a family member is sick, if they need direct assistance. I think a trend we're seeing in HR, and all credit due to the first speaker, is a growth in empathy. It's not just so much HR's job to make sure people get their sueldo and their pay slips and the withdrawals, but it's really more to look out for the overall quality of life of the employee and make sure that they're living their best life as an employee. And being able to respond in times of crisis is a key component of that. The second, and this is the one where it's more practical, and we've seen a rise of this across many industries, is remote work. A lot of people have adopted not just laptop and Microsoft Teams kind of setups, but as I mentioned earlier, you're seeing a lot of desktop virtualization, especially in more mature workplaces. So in terms of driving that, I just want to call out how our partners, Alliance and even Crayon, have been very diligent about bringing that 6-month free Teams offer to market. So for those who still have not taken advantage, that's definitely something we should talk about. And finally, employee life and health. In Microsoft, we have e-Numans, and I think that's very popular, but we also have e-workouts. And how that is we use a platform such as Teams. We get a fitness instructor, and everyone in the comfort of their own home or apartment, they join the workout together. So it's just a good way to keep connected. It's not work-related at all, and it's supposed to be fun. So all of these, if you are an HR person or if you work with an HR person, are things you can consider. Next, let's just say that you have a more operational responsibility within your organization, and let's just say you are coming from a very manual system wherein the expertise is in individual participants and the information is mostly written on pen and paper. Now, this is where visibility across your supply chain and your ability to predict disruptions comes into play. I'm not going to belabor the point. Most anyone can see the slide, but if you look at something like food service, it's one thing to take advantage of a POS where you can count the sale, you can count which orders are most popular, so on and so forth. But it's equally important in your back end, whether you have a commissary or whether you have a warehouse, to make sure that you have the right amount of goods and services at the right time. So this is where a level of analytics becomes important because you want that predictive rather than reactive. And without having to make this conversation about SAP and Azure, I think this is something which Alliance is fantastic at, especially if you're in food services and if you're in retail and services in general. They have built systems to help you predict trends so that you can respond with the right supply to the right demand without losing out on any earnings potentials and any revenue potential. Now, finally, and I'm going to gloss over this for lack of time, is we think about how we can use the cloud for better customer interactions. The first really is being able to shift to that demand wherein people are buying from home and browsing from home. The most basic example here is using something as simple as an e-marketplace. Whether you build it or subscribe to it, there are many good operations and there are many good offerings out there. But the second here, much as the point I was driving about supply chain, is intelligence. You want a platform which is responsive and predictive, which can give you insights fast. And this is where things like trends in buying, how much is a certain person buying over time, or how much do people spend on certain days versus others, or which SKU or which item is more sellable versus others. This is where your intelligence comes in. You don't necessarily want to be doing manual calculations for Excel spreadsheet calculations. And finally, a third model where the cloud protects. As I said, as people shop from the home, people are going to start paying with e-payment systems. And obviously, Union Bank is the expert here, and I will not pretend. But as you go away from person-to-person cash-based payments, there's also going to be a big opportunity for malicious actors outside to compromise those, right? So as you start adopting e-marketing and e-marketplaces and e-fulfillment, you want to make sure that you're able to protect not just the integrity of your own operations, but the payment and the e-wallets of your customers, and making sure that there's a security layer around your operations is going to be important. Again, the cloud helps. Now, finally, at some point we will all go back to our work, to our office. We will reopen the malls, the stores, etc. It's a way for us to reimagine how servicing customers will look like, and this is where the cloud helps. The new word I learned recently is phygital, and it's a combination of physical and digital. And what that means, talking towards my last point about contactless shopping, is imagine a reality wherein people browse online, they learn about your products and services online, they order and pay online. So kudos and thank you to outfits such as Union Bank for making that very easy. And finally, instead of waiting for fulfillment or shipment, they choose to go to the branch or go to the store location and have the transaction in person. So it's a combination of half digital and half physical. Now, this is the kind of scenario where cloud can definitely help. It puts visibility across that customer journey from the awareness and from the discovery phase all the way to the fulfillment. So building out all the systems we discussed in the two prior slides, and incorporating that with the best in breed service that we all have as people who have worked with our customers face to face. In closing, those are many trends, and if you were to build a plan, you would obviously start with your internal. You want to make sure that you employ cloud and you employ technologies which make sure that you take care of the ones who matter the most, who are your employees, our employees. But beyond that, you want to start thinking about your business operations, making sure that you're able to adapt and move as much of the manual business operations to something more automated and intelligent. And finally, once you've done 1 and 2, you want to start thinking about how you work with customers and how you serve customers. Some behavior will be expected to shift. Most customers, if not all, will want to maintain a lot of physical distance. So the model has to change. Now, finally, I started with empowering empowering entrepreneurs around the world. But just one last caveat. As more and more people explore cloud and as more and more people explore technology partners such as Alliance, you might want to think about 3 things. The first is, by nature, if you deal in cloud and if you deal in technology, you're dealing with data. And you want to choose a partner with integrity, someone who will not want a piece of your data to steal, to look at, to borrow, someone who will not use the data you collect, your own or your customers, for their remarketing purposes. So that's number 1. You want to deal with someone with a lot of integrity. Second, you want to deal with someone who takes security seriously as well. And by nature of taking security seriously, you want to work with someone who invests as much in security on your behalf to make sure that you're safe. Again, if you can allow me to be immodest, when you look at Microsoft, the annual security budget is in the neighborhood of $1 billion US. And that just goes to show that on top of all the innovation and cool things being built, making sure that everyone can transact and work in a safe environment is equally important. And finally, you want scale. You want someone with good leadership, someone who can start small with you, someone with expertise, and someone who can grow with you. And at least in Cebu, I can think of no one finer than Alliance. So in closing, the technology is half of it, but the partnership, who you choose to work with, you're going to want someone with integrity, someone who values security, and someone you can trust. But finally, someone who can work with you and grow with you. And in my opinion, and thank you to Bossing Robert Cheng and by Karsten and the entire team, Alliance is all of these 3 things. So I thank you very much for the time. We kept it high level, and I think we might have some time for questions. So I will stop sharing my screen, and I'll turn it back over to the hosts. Isa?
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Enzo. All right. So now we already know that having cloud in the workplace will allow us to have collaboration with our team and disseminate information despite working from home. Okay, so now that we are done with our speakers, let's proceed with the Q&A segment of this webinar. So we will be choosing some of the questions in the sidebar and maybe some of the questions from the webinar panel. So to all the viewers, please do write down your questions for the speakers on the Q&A icon that you can see on the right corner of your screen. Okay, just to remind everyone, you can get the chance to win Grab gift vouchers at the end of this program. So simply fill out the evaluation forms that you can see there, the link on the right corner of your screen. Okay, so while waiting for the audience's questions, so we will now start with Miss Riza. So Miss Riza, we will be asking you our first question.
Okay, Isa, go ahead.
Hi, Miss. Okay, so our question for you is, how can HR elicit understanding from employees if the management would implement flexible working arrangements like reduction of work days, etc.?
Oh, okay. I think that would be very timely.
Yes.
For me, to elicit cooperation, we have to emphasize the solution mindset first. You should be honest and trustworthy. Although you're delivering a bad news, perhaps, it would be really helpful if you'd be doing this sincerely and straightforward.
Mm.
Your message should be correct and you have a direct information. And of course, aside from HR, I think you need to get the buy-in first of your department leaders to make sure that their mindset is aligned and they understand the situation. Of course, they're working directly with those people, and we think that they're closer to them. So even how HR would explain to people the situation, people would still ask their superiors. So if those leads don't know how to answer and bring in the correct information, it would definitely create confusion, conflict, or misunderstanding. So people leaders should be the one to tell the people about the planned working arrangement as they understand better the operation. And supposedly they are, of course, I said a while ago, they're closer to those employees and they understand their mindset better. So HR will be the one to handle the communication and what needs to be done after, and what are the next direction. So firstly, it's really more on the solutions mindset.
Okay. So thank you very much, Miss Riza. So now we have a question for Miss Pam. Miss Pam.
Hi, go ahead.
Okay, our question is, if the bank system is down, do you have a contingency in place to process uploaded payroll files?
Yes, we do have a backup system. We just have to manually pull the payroll file that was uploaded to the portal. With intermittent system problems that we have, there might be a slight lang delay on the payroll process because we have to manually pull the payroll file from the portal to the backup system. But of course, we will do our best to process the payroll on the same day.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Pam. So next, we will ask Sir Enzo. Hi, Sir Enzo.
Hello, Isa.
Hi, sir. Okay. So our question here for you is, what is your advice to small and medium-sized businesses who are hesitant to invest on a cloud solutions in the new normal?
My advice is to start very small and to start with as little investment as possible, potentially free. I think a lot of companies, more than Microsoft, have been very generous in it with the market. But the second and more important thing is to invest in learning. A lot of the hesitation comes from not understanding how everything works, from not understanding the business case and the ROI, and from not having the actual skills. So on top of starting small, my second piece of advice is invest in learning. And by what I mean by that is formally appoint a chief learning or a chief transformation officer. It could be a subset of HR, it could be a subset of IT, or a combination thereof.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Enzo. Okay, so now I will be choosing some questions from the sidebar. All right. So we have here a first question. I think this should be addressed to Miss Riza. Miss Riza. Okay, I will read it out loud. Okay. How do we monitor employees' productivity and honesty? So what monitoring applications or devices can we use to check on this? Okay, this question is from the live audience, Sir Mike. Miss. I think you're on mute again.
Okay, sorry for that.
Okay.
For Alliance, actually, we have internal productivity tool that we're using, the Alliance integrated system, wherein we can get the reports daily in real time regarding the DTR, and also we have a productivity tracking system wherein we are balancing and monitoring the productivity daily of the engineers versus their SLAs. And I think what I can advise aside from that is for my HR colleagues and friends to try out also some open source systems online, because there are a lot of available tools, and just try to look at which is really applicable to them, because sometimes we really need to make things young to our organization. So try to look at it. That's why Alliance has its own internal systems, because we customize our operations and productivity tools based on our operation as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Riza. Okay. So moving on, we have another question for Miss Pam. Miss Pam.
Yes, go
Okay.
ahead.
So you mentioned about batch account opening online. Would you still need a signed account opening form?
Yes, for now, we need the document signed because it's a central bank requirement for anti-money laundering. But this can, with the COVID, wherein travel is restricted, we can accept naman scanned copies of the documents. This can be turned over to the bank after ECQ is lifted. And once we get the documents, we will then provide you with the ATM cards, although the account numbers will be provided to the employees right away.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Pam. Okay. So we have our last question for Sir Enzo. So we will be asking you the same question, sir, from the live audience. So how do we monitor employees' productivity and honesty? So what monitoring applications or devices can we use to check on this?
On Office 365 in particular, there's something called Workplace Analytics. And what that does is it can track the amount of meeting times or personal productivity time, or I guess creative time, that the end users has. So this is a lot of metadata, and it takes into account all of the activities as it's done based on the person's calendar. So that's one very direct way of monitoring. You can actually look at logs, much like any system. But I second I second what Ms. Risa said. Depending on your industry, there are many things you can build. Open source is actually a fantastic way to start if licensing is the hurdle. There are things you can build, or there's things that have been built for you. It's also good to explore based on what you need. In particular, if you operate branches, or if you operate something where people work remote, a lot of the new devices can be integrated with these systems, so it can actually make people physically log on if that's what you need. If people are working remotely from home, you can actually put those in their devices so they can also remotely log on, and that's how you can measure product.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Enzo. Okay, so now for the viewers who are done with the evaluation, our team will be contacting you for the Grab vouchers. So we will be sending you an email, and from there you will know if you are one of the lucky winners of the Grab vouchers. All right, to wrap it up, thank you so much, speakers, Ms. Riza, Ms. Pam, and Sir Enzo, for your time in answering all the questions and sharing your insights that could greatly help our viewers to succeed in their future plans despite these challenging times. Also, a massive thanks to all the viewers for your active participation, and we hope that you will continue to tune in live to the next webinars every Fridays. Don't forget to like and follow our Facebook page, Alliance Edge. Thank you, everyone, and keep safe. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you so much.